Let's play some No Man's Sky Singularity. During this playthrough, I'm going to show you everything I do to have the very best start you can possibly have in No Man's Sky. Oh my god, did that just happen? Once your little avatar stops spinning around, the direction you are facing right now is the direction of your crashed ship. Let's do this. Yoink! Now we really need to find some sodium as well as oxygen. These deuterium plants are really cool. They'll give you extra rocket pack boost. If you do a melee attack and then hold down your rocket boost, well, you're basically gonna be Super Spaceman, and it looks like we found a little building we can hide in. These damaged machinery are actually pretty cool. You can loot the fluids and turn it into nanites later. I generally just delete them because it's a long drawn out process. On rare occasions, they'll even give you some S-Class modules, which is pretty win. Now let's get inside and get our hazard protection all charged back up. Ultimately, I was looking for a cave in order to recharge my hazard protection, but we'll just use this little building behind us as our lifeline. At this stage of the game, your scanner is all busted up and you need to make an analysis visor. In order to do that, you're going to have to farm up some carbon as well as some ferrite dust. Since we're out here mining, let's talk about how to mine efficiently. Now, if you notice, I'm trying to keep my mining beam in the red without letting it overheat, so when it's about to overheat, I'll just let off the trigger and then hold it back down until it's about to overheat again. If you can maintain this method without overheating, well, congratulations, you won yourself a cookie and the ability to cut through these deposits twice as fast as when you're mining in the green. Unfortunately, I didn't get enough ferrite dust to get the scanner fixed, but let's get this analysis visor plopped in there. We're just gonna have to make ourselves a carbon nanotube. A carbon nanotube only costs 50 carbon, and at this point I mined up a bunch of that. So there we go, we have our analysis visor all sorted. Now we can scan all the minerals and plants in order to find out what their secondary drops are. Once I get my scanner fixed, I like to spend a little bit of time scanning basically every single plant and every single mineral that I can in order to find out what their secondary drops are. It is worth noting, until you scan each one of these plants or minerals, you will never get the secondary drop, and sometimes these secondary drops are very, very good. I highly recommend before you lift off this first planet that you spend a little bit of time scanning the fauna, because if you scan all of them, oh my goodness, you're going to get a huge bonus of nanites. Mining up the last of the ferrite dust that I needed, and then this happened. I guess it's not a rock, it's mostly a rock. Oh well, might as well kill it, I suppose. I mean, I guess it's not space homicide if it's a rock, am I right? Mined up a half-decent amount of ferrite dust. Let's get this scanner sorted. There are a few other things you can build in there, like a personal shield or a bolt caster. You're not going to have to worry about that right now. Once you ping with your scanner, you're going to notice that H's are for dihydrogen, you're going to notice Na for sodium, and C+ for carbon. That makes finding these elements so much easier. As of now, I've farmed up a half-decent amount of carbon as well as ferrite dust, but we are going to need a bunch of this dihydrogen right here in order to make rocket fuel as well as life support jellies. In the beginning, you can't ever have too many dihydrogen crystals, trust me. While you're out exploring the world, you're going to run across these green damaged containers here. Definitely save the rust. You can turn that into ferrite dust here in a bit. Unfortunately, you won't be able to loot the cylinders until you get your Atlas Volume 1 pass. Other things you might find in this area, well, you're going to find yellow boxes and white boxes. Yellow ones will have random loot, and the white ones will heal your hit points. If you're hard up for oxygen, there will always be 4 plants right next to your banged up ship. There is almost always a cave system right next to your crashed ship, so I'm going to scan all this cobalt in here, mine it up, as well as this cave marrow. Cave marrow can actually be turned directly into sodium. You might run across these humming sacks. Inside will be albium pearls, which are actually worth a little bit of money, so you might as well loot them up. In most cases, there will be carbon as well as ferrite dust spawns down in the cave. Makes it very, very easy to scarf up those resources without getting totally and completely wrecked by the elements outside. And if you find these hazardous flora inside of a cave, buck them down with extreme prejudice. They will give you sodium as well as oxygen. Once you're ready to start repairing your ship, click on the red glowing orb. Now I am going to skip quite a bit of any of these interactions because it will contain storyline and I do not want to spoil that for you. Once you hop into your ship, the automatic repair protocol quest will take over. You'll be informed that your pulse engine as well as your launch thrusters are totally and completely destroyed and will need repairs. The only thing you won't be able to repair all the way is going to be your pulse engine. That is going to require a hermetic seal, and the hermetic seal is the quest we're going to have to go on and discover before we can actually make one. Now, there are a couple things we can repair before we head out for the hermetic seal. All we need to do is make a metal plating as well as a dihydrogen jelly. We can do that right now. The jelly will only take 40 dihydrogen, and the metal plate itself only takes 50 ferrite dust. The hermetic seal, though, is a totally and completely different story. If we don't go out and find it, we're never ever going to take off from this planet. Slap the plate and the jelly in there, but what about this pure ferrite? How are we going to be able to get that? It's actually quite simple. Just hop out of your ship. You're going to need to create something which is called the portable refiner, and of course it's going to take a metal plate as well as 30 oxygen to create one of these. Once you've placed your portable refiner, you can just interact with it, and once you interact with it, you will need to add some fuel to it in order to actually refine anything. You can now toss your ferrite dust in there and press begin. It'll now turn all that ferrite dust into pure ferrite. Now, we only need 50, so I'll probably stop it right around there. Remember when I said you could turn marrow bulb into sodium? Well, there you go. Let's slap that 50 pure ferrite in there. Now we have our launch thrusters completely repaired. As early as you can, you want to make sure you wean yourself off needing a bunch of oxygen and sodium to keep yourself alive, and that's going to mean you're going to be wanting to make life support jellies as well as ion batteries. Now, as life support gels only take dihydrogen as well as carbon, so they're super easy to make. Ion batteries will take cobalt as well as ferrite dust, and of course ferrite dust is super easy to get, but cobalt only spawns in caves, so keep that in mind. Early on, I try to save all this sodium for my ship's shield, so I like to make at least 10 ion batteries for my own personal use. I spent a few minutes farming up some dihydrogen crystals. Now we should have plenty of dihydrogen in order to make these jellies, so we can finally have a nice stack of these life support gels. Once you have a stash of ion batteries and life support gels, well, No Man's Sky gets so much easier. This even includes playing in permadeath. Time to turn some of that rusted metal I looted into ferrite dust. Once you hop back into your ship for the second time, the hermetic seal quest will begin. Whenever you are doing your main quest in No Man's Sky, you're going to notice that the marker is always that red diamond shape with the white symbol on the inside. It's always going to direct you where you need to go. After this interaction, you're going to get a planetary chart. If you click on it, it's actually going to show you the location where you need to go to find the hermetic seal. While you're up really high in the air, if you see another building that's closer than the one that's marked, you can go there to get the hermetic seal. Not long after you leave your ship location to find the hermetic seal, you're going to get a weather warning. Now, this storm doesn't fool around, so if you don't have enough sodium or ion batteries, you can get yourself into a bit of trouble. Phew, that was a close one. I almost had to actually use an ion battery. We'll check out what this damaged machinery has in a bit after we recharge our hazard protection. In order to get your hermetic seal blueprint, you just need to click on the holo archive here. Once you complete a little bit of the storyline, congratulations, you now have the hermetic seal blueprint. So I hit the scanner and noticed a purple looking icon. That's actually a memory glyph that will teach you the words of the species that controls this system. Each one of these you find will teach you one single word. So chances are, if you want to learn their language, you're going to need to find a whole bunch of these. Or at least talk to other aliens and practice your dialogue with them. Made it back to my newbie ship, and it's going to tell me right away that my pulse engines are totally wrecked. Yeah, it's like I know that. You just sent me on a quest to get the hermetic seal. There you go. It's all fixed up. Your launch thrusters will have 50% fuel when you get them repaired, but you definitely want to make more. Now, each one will take a metal plating and a little bit of dihydrogen. Before you take off, make sure you have at least 1,000 carbon as well as ferrite dust. Have at least a couple hundred sodium for your ship's shields. Make sure you have about 50 cobalt. You're going to make a bunch of money with that later, and definitely make sure your life support gels and ion batteries are sorted. Once you do that, you are free to leave the planet or moon's atmosphere. Once you find an asteroid field, which doesn't take you very long, you're going to be doing one of two things. There is the Awakenings quest, which you're going to have to complete 3 different things. It basically teaches you how to fly your ship. After that, you will be destroying all of these asteroids around you. It's going to give you gold, sometimes platinum and silver. You'll also get tritium. Tritium is what you need to make your pulse engine go anywhere, so definitely don't run out of tritium. I will usually do this for about 10 minutes tops. This will give me enough tritium, silver, and gold that I need to complete our quest here in just a little bit, as well as a little bit of loot that I can sell at the space station in order to buy microprocessors, which will help us build our hyperdrive. When you're doing this, you're going to get a lot of gold nuggets as well as hyperclusters, and sometimes you get something really cool, like I'm not even supposed to have antimatter yet. Well, I only ended up doing this for about 5 minutes, so I really hope I have enough gold and silver later. You will be building a base soon, so take this opportunity to scan the planets around you to see if any of them are actually pretty cool. Answering the signal will give you a set of planetary coordinates where you need to go in order to unlock the terrain manipulator as well as the base computer. Oh man, why couldn't it be on the Paradise planet? As you approach the signal source, this can be done in one of two ways. You can either, like land right next to the signal source. This is actually going to piss off all the fat cells in your body if you do it this way. Once you hop out of your ship, use your analysis visor and you kind of look around in directions. That right there means it's straight ahead of me. And you guessed it, time to piss off our fat cells because I have to run all the way there. Shut up, fat cells, we got a little bit of work to do. Now this is an irradiated planet, and an irradiated planet, if it has water, you have a very, very good chance that some of these plants in the water will have oxygen as its secondary drop, and that right there is the exact thing we need to happen in order to make a whole boat ton of money in just a little bit. Oh yeah, we're fixing to be rich. At the quest location now, these save and chart beacons right here will actually create a save, which is pretty handy when you're not nearby your ship. That's what you're looking for, a piece of damaged machinery. So basically just find a piece of damaged machinery right next to that signal source and, that's probably exactly where you need to go. Don't piss off your fat cells. In order to build your base computer, you will need chromatic metal, and in order to get that, you're going to need to be able to mine some copper. That means getting the terrain manipulator completely sorted. Found ourselves a copper deposit. Now, see, I mined a whole bunch of it on accident. You want to make sure you're using the smallest bubble possible before you even start to mine. Mining with the smallest bubble possible will give you the most resources, although mining with the big gigantic bubble is way faster, you just won't get very much of the resource. Pressing R a bunch of times will make it the smallest bubble, and if you press T a whole bunch, it will grow it to the largest bubble possible. Yeah, when you're mining, always use the small bubble though. The easiest way to find a copper deposit near you is to use your analysis visor, find the deposit, then tag it. Once you tag it, you can run there. Basically got it all mined up. The other thing you're going to want to be doing is looking for buried technology modules. Those can also be found in the analysis visor, and you can tag it and just run right for them. Well, this one was so close we didn't even need the analysis visor to find it. And you can just dig it up with the terrain manipulator, then go over there and loot it. Each time you loot one of these buried technology modules, you will receive between 1 and 3 salvage data. You're really hoping to get 3 because that's totally win. Another easy source for buried technology is to find damaged machinery. There's almost always one buried nearby. See what I mean? We're right here by the damaged machinery, and there it is. There's the buried technology right near it. We will need these salvage data to build a teleporter, a battery, and some solar panels, things like that, so you're going to need a lot of those. The other thing is, though, it's like a double-edged sword. They're actually worth quite a bit, so you can sell them for money if you have any extra. Whenever I'm hunting for salvage data, I will always hit up these damaged machineries just because I like to get a bunch of free nanites. Now, back to the grind. Oh, there's a life form down there. FYI, I am totally screwing the pooch right now. I'm getting caught up in how awesome it'd be to live on a paradise planet, and here's another one with star bulbs on it. Just because there is water on the surface of a paradise planet does not mean, and in most cases, will not have oxygen as the secondary drop. So yeah, wonderful planet. Sucks if you want to farm a whole bunch of oxygen to make a bunch of money. Building next to a miner settlement would actually be pretty cool. There's a landing pad outside. There's a multi-tool cabinet right here. Although it does kind of suck, there's actually a galactic trade terminal behind me. I'm gonna grab these nanites really quick. And I could interact with this alien here, and if I answer the question correctly, he might give me something. But I can't actually give you multi-tools. In this case, he's gonna teach me a word. Before you talk to the guy in the back, you're gonna need a bunch of nanites. So open up your Discoveries tab, then click on the correct planet that has all your discoveries on it, then start cashing them in. Before you upload anything, you can rename it if you like, and if anybody ever visits that planet ever in the future, it will be that name that you made it. Sadly, even if you find all the flora, you will not get a gigantic bonus of nanites. That's a bummer. Fauna, on the other hand, is a totally and completely different story. If you find all the animals on a planet or moon, well, you're gonna get a huge bonus of nanites. Each animal you upload will give you 5 nanites, but realistically, it is all about that nanite bonus right there, and we just got hooked up totally fat. Minerals are basically just like the flora. You're not going to get a bonus even if you find them all, and they're only worth 3 per upload. When you talk to the guy in the back, you can either purchase components or blueprints. Now, every single one of these components he sells, except for maybe the hermetic seal, is extremely useful to your gameplay. If you have enough nanites, you're definitely going to want to grab the advanced mining laser. If you can, try to get the teleport receiver, waveform recycler, as well as the shield lattice. You can get the barrel ionizer too, although at this point I'm basically wasting my nanites. If you don't find a miner outpost early on, don't worry about it too much, because you can get all these upgrades in the space anomaly in about an hour from now. Let's pawn off some of our craps here on the galactic trade terminal. That Sentinel bounty map is actually pretty cool, but it's not as cool as 3200 right now, so I'm just gonna sell it. See what I'm talking about? That salvage data is actually worth a lot, although we can't sell it. We need that in just a bit. Time to sell all the stuff in my exosuit as well as my ship. Now, generally I wouldn't do this to y'all, but you need to see where I'm getting my starting money from. Before I build my first base, I want to get a few more buried technology modules, and since I found these 2 damaged machineries together, I'm willing to bet there's probably going to be some buried technology. Dude, is something attacking me? Alright, looks like I got a scumbag coming in. Let's put him down. Yep, take that, bro. Just leave me alone. Go bite somebody else. Got totally hooked up with nanites on that second machine here. Now let's go over and talk to this Cliff and earn ourselves another word. The other thing you might run across when you're out there looking for buried technology, well, sometimes they're not so buried. They're just kind of floating around in the sky. Makes them really easy to find. Past me is all you know how cool it would be to build a base on that deserted island over there? When future me is bro, you're totally wasting your time. You're literally about to go build another base back on that planet you were just at. Before we build our base computer, we will need to turn some of this copper here into chromatic metal. Now, if you want to take the easy way out, you can destroy your rocket launcher inside your ship. It will give you enough chromatic metal to build a base computer. That is, if you are just far too lazy to mine up the copper yourself. I guess plopping the base computer down here is as good a place as any. Now, once you plop it down, you will want to interact with it. In just a little bit, it's going to give you the option to claim this base location. Now, you're going to be able to do that as long as nobody else has a base built in this local area right here. Interacting with the base computer one more time will give you a little bit of storyline as well as a bunch of base building parts. Make sure you check out the next episode where we build our epic box base, start making a bunch of money, buy an S-class ship, as well as visit the space anomaly.